Okay, so let me share my screen. So right now we're at the Help Center, and this is called, just a little article on the structure of Podio. Um, Starting from the bottom and working our way up, we have the self-contained entity, which is the organization. The organization is the overarching umbrella that contains all of your workspaces, apps, datas, members, all that good information. After organization, we have workspaces, and these are where your apps are grouped. So whether it's your intranet workspace or your sales workspace, user engagement, whatever you're using it for, this is a specialized area to collect all your apps. Then we have the apps, if we go one more step up. And the apps create items and organize them to give you an overview of your work. The structure of an app will determine the items you create with it. For example, a projects app enables you to create projects items. Deliverables apps can be related to those projects, so on and so forth. And then we have the smallest unit, sort of the cell of Podio, which is the item. An item can be anything within an app, whether it's a project, a sales lead, a meeting, whatever you choose. Think of it as a living social document on Podio. Now that we've covered the structure of Podio, let's go into our intranet workspace. So I have one set up here. When I created the workspace, which I did by going to my workspace selector and clicking this Create a Workspace button, I chose to make it an open workspace. This means this is visible and open for all employees, as opposed to a private workspace, which is only accessible by invitation. I also chose to check this box and have individuals automatically join this workspace when they join Podio, because I want to make sure that we encompass all employees in the organization. Okay, so we have our activity stream. A lot of you might be asking, what is an intranet in the first place? An intranet is a space accessible only to an organization's members. Generally, a wide range of information and services from an organization are available in that space, whether it's office FAQs or feedback, bulletins, all hands meetings, anything that you want to disseminate to the entire employee population. Some of the benefits of an intranet are definitely workforce productivity. Centralizing all of your information allows for faster use of applications. And with the help of the Podio interface, users can access data anytime from any device, whether they're on mobile device or on their computers. And it allows them to perform their jobs faster, more accurately, and with more confidence. It also allows for a greater level of communication. Intranets can serve as a powerful tool within the organization. The type of information that can easily be conveyed is unlimited. By providing this information on the intranet, staff have the opportunity to keep up to date with the strategic focus of the organization. It also allows you to promote a common corporate culture. Every user has the ability to view the same information, and that builds a camaraderie within the staff that allows for easy integration within the organization. And above all else, it is cost effective. Rather than maintaining physical documentation, having it online, it allows you to update it whenever you like without needing to reprint documents, making sure that not only the environment is conserved, but also the financial responsibilities of the business. So let's dive into some of our apps here. All of these apps are available in our app market, which can be found at market.podio.com, and it looks something like this. We have several different functionality types, and you can find a lot of great apps in our intranet category, which is located here. And These are templates. They should be considered as a starting point and customized to your specific needs. So let's start with our out-of-office app. So this app keeps track of employees that are requesting time off, whether it's because they're taking a vacation or they're going to be in some sort of training exercise, depending on whatever their needs are. We can add an out-of-office item, and it's pretty straightforward. I have the employee's name, and you can choose the employee. We have a category for the type of request, and let's say this is going to be a vacation. And I'm going to take Halloween weekend off. And I'm going to put my manager here as well, who's Sarah May. And this allows you to coordinate and make sure you have enough people within the office at a certain time. One nice thing with Podio is with this app, we can create a workflow to automate the approval process. So I'm going to go to our Manage Workflow area by clicking the wrench icon. And once here, I'm going to go ahead and create a workflow. Now, a workflow works as a if-then statement, or when an action occurs, then another action will be triggered automatically. So we're going to say when out-of-office days are created, then I want a task to be created. So I'm just going to drag that task icon to the bottom. The title of the task, I'm going to use a variable by using the @ key, and we want it to be created by, and I'm just going to follow it with request. And to assign this, we see we have the variable option here, and we're going to assign it to the person's manager, which I chose previously in the item. Now, we can say, name this as task to review. Click Save. And now, if we go back to the app and I create another item, say it's a vacation request for that day, oops, and enter my manager. Once I save it, we see that this task was added, and Sarah May will be able to review it, and once she can come here to the approval status and change it from requested to approved. So this is, once again, a template. If you need to modify this to include other categories, a longer description, you can always go to the Modify Template area, and you'll be able to add any necessary fields from here. And then click Done when you finish modifying. Okay, let's go to our Bulletins app. So this is sort of an APB app. It allows you to disseminate information as it arrives, and especially if it's something that pertains to the entire organization, it's an easy way to make sure everyone has access to this. So I do have an item already in this app. The bulletin headline, new TPS reports. I'm the author of this. The text is relatively simple, just saying that the new style of TPS reports will be launched on Monday, October 19th. And I can add tags to this item to allow it to be filtered easier once more items are created. So after our Bulletins app, that's pretty straightforward. We have our All Hands app. So a lot of organizations like to have company-wide meetings, and this is a great way to organize that event. This is a meetings app which allows you to invite individuals specifically. So I already have one created here. We have our headline, the date and time, and this section is specific to meetings apps, the attendees section. Here you can see that I've invited 3 individuals, myself, Evan, and Sarah May. Evan has already confirmed as attending, while Sarah May is still waiting for a reply. You can also see that in the activity feed, he is marked as attending. We have the agenda, the location, and if we ever need to attach any files, we can do that as well. Okay. So the Office FAQ app is our next app. This is a great way to make sure people have resources, and whenever they have a frequently asked question, they can find an answer easily online. Adding a question is relatively straightforward. This is, once again, a little bit of a template, so you can customize it in any way you like. We'll have the question, the answer, and this is a workspace member field, which will allow you to have the author of the answer as well, and a category field telling us what it pertains to, whether it's IT, HR, sales, general, marketing, or legal. And we can see we have an existing one here. A lot of the times, if it's just a facilities question, you can have, if someone's interested in where they need to park their car, they can log on and see that there's actually roof parking available in the building. Okay. Now, the feedback app is one of my favorite apps in the Intranet workspace. This app encourages employees to report back to the entire organization, not just their management, and speak their mind, whether it's something in the building, something in the organization, or a process that they're concerned about. Having an open dialogue between all employees facilitates a happier workspace and allows individuals to speak up when they see something they want to address. If an individual wants, they can come to this app, click the Add Feedback button, and they'll be able to enter their information. Now, this will show the individual that created the app. If you want to give them a little anonymity and allow individuals to submit without having their name attached to a feedback, I would recommend using the web form. So the web form tool can be found by clicking the wrench icon and scrolling down here to web form. And a web form mirrors the app in a non-Podio space. So we can find the shareable link. If we chose, we could even embed this on another website. I'm just going to open up a new tab to show you what that looks like. And now individuals can submit feedback without having their names attached to it if they want to stay anonymous. This will, once you click the Submit Anonymously button, this will create an item in the feedback app back in our Intranet workspace, and it can be reviewed and discussed by the entire team. The High Five app. This is a fun app for coworkers to address any big wins that they have, whether it's closing a deal or making a great presentation. Recognizing individuals within the organization also promotes a good corporate culture, and this is just a simple way to do that. We have in the app itself the headline, the individual we want to praise, and test there. Let's say I want to praise Sarah May, and what did she accomplish that deserves a high five? Let's just say being great for now. And once you save this item, Sarah May will receive a notification that she got a high five, and she'll be able to review it, and others within the workspace will be able to thumbs up or thumbs down this action. The final app I have in my workspace is the Employees app. This is a central database of all the employees within the organization. It allows you to input as much information as you would like to be shared. Of course, there's some confidential things that should not be posted. But here we have a space for the name, their title, responsibilities, who their manager is, their area of employment. We even have a space to put a profile picture so you know what the person looks like. And their employment status, whether they haven't started, they're active, they have left the company, or they're temporary, as well as their start date. As you can see, I have added myself already, and we have my title as Customer Care Specialist. I support customers with their inquiries. I'm with the support staff. Here's my profile picture. Started back in March, and I have my manager as well. Now that we've talked about all the apps, let's go to the activity feed and show you how this can be used. So in the activity feed is a general overview of the entire workspace. The left will have actions that have been taken by any members, and the right will have your tiles. A workspace tile, which I can add down here, are quick and easy overviews of either apps, events, or any other items within the workspace. So I have 4 workspace tiles already. This is just a simple image tile that welcomes our employees to the intranet. This is a task tile, which is convenient to see who's working on what in the workspace. We have an intranet calendar, which aggregates all the events from all the apps and inputs them on a single tile. And I also have a tile for the out of office, which shows us who is going to be out of office this week from the view created within that app. If we wanted to add another tile, we simply click this button, and we have a list of options, whether it's our workspace tasks, calendars. If you attach files to the workspace and you would like to easily access them, or the workspace files tile is great. Workspace contacts, texts, images, and links, all pretty self-explanatory. Then we also have the apps, which will give you a brief overview of any of the apps within the workspace. So let's say I want to add a high five tile, and you'll see all the items within that app displayed here. Okay. And the last thing about the activity feed, if at any point someone wants to get the attention of the crowd, they can post here. You can post anything that you find relevant, whether it's just trying to get that attention, sending out a cool article, sharing information regarding the organization specifically, and you can attach files, share a link, or share a question, which allows you to poll the staff within the workspace. All right. Now that I've given a brief introduction, I'd like to open up the floor. So in your GoToWebinar panel, you should see a button with a hand on it. That's the raise your hand icon. If you click that, I'll be able to unmute you and have you ask your question to the entire audience. And once again, if you'd like to ask your question via text, feel free to type it in the questions box, and my colleague Jacqueline will be able to answer. Okay, let's see here. It looks like Stefania has a question. Hi there. Stefania, can you hear us? Oh. Okay, we'll come back. All right. If you have any questions regarding Podio in general, not just Intranet, please feel free to raise your hand. Whether it's workflows, contacts. Looks like Victor has a question. Hi, Victor.
How are you? Can you hear me? Hello? I've got a question regarding email. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. I apologize.
No problem. Excellent. I've got a simple question. In one of our workflows, we would like to be notified with the data of the item that has been created. But so far we're getting just a reminder or notification that item has been created. However, the data of the form that has been submitted in that item is not included. Is there a way to be able to show that data in the email of the notification? Thank you.
Definitely, great question, thank you. So the notifications are actually designed to alert you to the item within Podio, because Podio is designed as a self-contained entity and we want to actually avoid using email as much as possible. It'll tell you that an item was created, but it won't necessarily show the fields in the item. The notification would have to be clicked on, and then viewing the item within the app in Podio would allow you to see the data. But let us know if you have any other questions. Okay. Looks like Emily has a question. Hi, Emily, can you hear us? I can't hear you if you're speaking. It seems like you're still muted.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear us now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
We were just wondering if we want to attach files using Podio, can it link directly onto our server, or is it just like actually attaching something and you'd have to keep reattaching if you made changes to the document?
So two-part answer. Attaching the file you can attach it from any location depending on where that file is stored, if it's in the cloud or directly within your hard drive. If you update that file, that won't necessarily be reflected in the attachment unless you're using a cloud-based platform like ShareFile, Google Drive, or Dropbox. So depending on how you attach that file will determine if the edits are reflected in that file. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Would it be better to maybe do a link onto our network so that then if you did somebody made a change to a document on the network, it would automatically be reflected?
Yes, definitely. If linking to the, I'm assuming it's a cloud-based server where it's stored. Yeah, linking it to the file would be a much easier way to ensure that everyone sees the most updated file.
Okay, let me just make sure we don't have any other questions.
And can we customize the homepage as far as, like, I used to use something called SharePoint a lot, and I've never used Podio, and my coworker has brought this to my attention to maybe use in lieu of SharePoint. And I'm used to SharePoint where it really looked like a website, you know, where it was so easy for people to go on. You could really customize it with colors and your logo and whatnot. How does Podio work? Is it similar, or is it kind of what we see?
Currently, there's no white label version of Podio available, so the Podio logo will always be displayed. And as far as customization, you can customize the data that is available, but the layout itself is sort of standard, where you have the tiles on the right-hand side and the activity feed on the left-hand side. We are working on providing more customization, but that's later down the road.
Because I was trying to figure out if there's a paid version of Podio. Is that the version that maybe was more customizable, where you could really make it your own?
What is the difference between the free version and the paid version?
Great question. So let me bring up a quick diagram. So the paid version, the very first difference is, as opposed to the free version, is that you're limited to the number of members. In the free version, you can only have 5 employees, while on the paid version, you can choose to have as many as you like. Okay. Here, here it is. Okay, so we have our different tiers listed here. The free version is sort of the light version. It doesn't have a lot of the functionality that the paid versions do, especially with the workflow tool. It's quite limited in that capacity. The free version does not have an organizational administrator, so user management is a little bit restricted, while in the paid version you can add or remove an employee at any time. The best part about the Plus and Premium tiers is that you receive a Podio account manager who's able to actually onboard your help with onboarding, whether it's providing training to the staff or actually setting up your workspaces for you and getting the workflows established to your liking. We also offer reporting features for the premium plan especially, as well as the access permissions that are granted within the higher tiers. You can provide read-only access, which is a really great tool if you want a client to review a certain project but not necessarily be able to edit, as well as a light user role, which allows for limited functionality within a workspace.
So you said, I'm sorry, where we get someone to help set up the workspace as well as do the training, is that the plus? Sorry.
So the Plus plan comes with 1 hour of training, and that can be allocated how you see fit, while the Premium plan comes with 3 hours of training. And then after that, you can always purchase additional training hours.
And they both include the setup of the workspace?
Yes. The Plus plan is more of a getting started guide, making sure that you have the right apps in the right locations and everything is functioning appropriately, while the Premium plan goes a little bit more into detail and really make sure that any setup is verified afterwards as well, making sure that any bumps or pain points are addressed and cleared.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry, we had so many questions.
No, not at all. Thank you for your questions.
If we have a few more, are we allowed to ask?
Oh, of course. Just raise your hand again.
Okay. Well, we have them now. We already know them.
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead.
So can only admins modify the templates in it? Is that right?
Yes. Only admins are allowed to modify templates. The regular members will be able to add items, but they won't necessarily be able to mess with the template.
Okay. And then you were going through sending like a calendar invite in one of your examples.
Yes.
And currently our company, company-wide and with all of our clients and customers or whatever, we use Outlook, to set up meetings so that everybody knows what's going on. It's on our Outlook calendar. So if you're to set something up in here, how does that work with Outlook or with whatever kind of mail or calendaring you're using within your company?
You can definitely integrate the calendaring service of your choice, whether it's Outlook, Google Calendar, or iCal. We have services available where your Podio events will be transferred to your Outlook calendar if you prefer to have it all stored in an external calendar. When inviting an individual, if they're not in Podio, what you can do is, let's go back to our meeting here, and I can edit. And although these people were members of the workspace, if there was someone that wasn't a member, but I had their email address, I could just simply type their email address here, and let's say that, and an invitation will be sent to that person. Let's stick. Try that again. Oh. Because I used the fake email address, I didn't recognize it. But anyway, it does send an email notification to the individual, and then they can RSVP within the email, and that will be reflected in the item as well. If that person chooses to integrate their Podio account with their external service, then their meetings will also appear in their external calendar. And depending on what service you have, you can always go to your account and go to your account settings, and you'll be able to integrate your services there.
Okay, and then the last question we have is around support, because obviously we have a lot of questions, and we want to really set this up because we're in desperate need of something to help organize and connect us all, and we want to do it right. So we just want to know how it works with you guys. Do we have a number we can call, or do we get an account rep if we sign up, or how do we get help?
So the best way to get help is through our support center, which is found at help.podio.com. And let me scroll up. Clicking this contact support button will take you to this screen, and you'll be able to submit a support ticket in writing. We aim to respond to all tickets within 3 hours, so we're not one of those companies that lets a ticket stay for a day or 2 or 3. We make sure we address it within a timely manner. And once again, the Plus and Premium tiers do receive an account manager, which will guide you during the onboarding process. And the support staff is available to address your concerns at any time, as you write on this page here.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely. Any other questions?
I'm sure. We'll just wait until our account manager.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So it looks like Stacy has a question. Hi, Stacy. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Definitely. What can I do for you today?
Okay, I have 2 questions. For one has to do with the calendars. My company uses Google Apps right now, so I was able to set up my my personal calendar into Podio. However, we also have a few calendars on the Google Apps that are for like meeting rooms, not a particular employee. And in my Google Apps, I have access to like manage and create events on those calendars. Is there a way for me to add those calendars to my Podio? Because it's not my specific calendar, it's a meeting room that I can like manage sharing or edit events on, and I want to be able to view in Podio to look at all my calendars in Podio.
That is a good question. So these calendars are separate Google App calendars that exist for the meeting room, and there's a different calendar for each meeting room. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
In that case, it would be a little bit more difficult to integrate it into the system because there isn't a specific email address associated that we can pull it in from.
Okay.
What I would recommend is replacing the system with one in Podio. You could create an app for each meeting room, and in that app, you can accomplish the exact same things as in the Google app while still making sure that all your employees are able to access it. That would be something that you could add to the intranet workspace. and let's say you have conference room A, B, and C, you would have 3 apps, one for each, and you could structure it in such a way that you would be able to request time and you'd see that in Podio.
Okay, well, would there be, if there is, I'd have to check with our administrators, if there is an email address associated with the meeting rooms, like it's not on someone's calendar, then would it be able to add it? Because the thing is that we currently also have the meeting rooms synced with another service that allows some of our independent contractors who come here for meetings to book meetings. So we kind of prefer not to move it out of Google Apps to not lose that sync ability of the calendars. Because you mentioned there's not an email address, so then it would be difficult. If I do have an email address, is it possible?
I'll give a tentative yes, because I haven't seen this use case before.
Okay.
What would probably happen is that email address would be added to your account, and then you could import that into your own calendar. So it would act as if it's your own, but it wouldn't necessarily be.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. The one other question that I had was I was wondering, I was looking at exporting from table views to Excel using filters, and I wanted to know if there's a way to schedule exports for like pre-existing views. Like if I create a view that already has filters set, can I schedule it so that each week or each month it'll export that current report or that current view?
To Excel. The Excel export tool needs to be launched manually. There's no way to automate that. The good thing is it takes 2 clicks. You click on the wrench icon and then click Excel export, and it will automatically, oh, I clicked import, didn't I?
Okay, but I can't do it with like a workflow so that, because like we know we can do it manually, but what if I want it to remind me, or I want, it's more of like I might forget to run it and I need to do it periodically. So there's no way with a workflow to do that?
Unfortunately not, but you could create a task that reminds you to export the information, and you could set a reminder on that task. I can show you that right now. So let's say export and just do tomorrow. And the clock icon here, if you click that, that will allow you to set a reminder 10 minutes before, and then you can also make this a repeating task by clicking the circle icon and have that task generated every week, every month, whatever interval you would like.
Okay.
I know it's not an ideal solution, but it'll at least allow you to keep it stable.
Well, if I do that, also, would I be able to, like, in the task, because, like, let's say we create multiple views, like the table views, would it be able for me to create, like, a link to remember to open that particular table view so that I could just click on the link and then just go to export versus going to that app, picking the view I want, and then picking export, to kind of reduce the amount of clicks I would have to do?
The Excel export will not be affected by the filters, so it'll actually export the entire app regardless.
I thought I was reading that sometimes that you could. I was reading this that apparently you can.
Yes, the filters will be reflected. Depending on so let's test that out right now. Let's say I'm going to create a new view, and let's go into my High Fives app. And yes, so it looks like there is a unique link that will be generated for each view, and you can use this link to reference that view whenever you would like.
Okay, so I could just put that link in the task so that when it reminds me, I can click directly on the link and see it, basically, rather
Exactly.
than have to go to the app and go to the view. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so I would do that just by manually copying that link into my task.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions?
No, that's it for now.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, it seems like Randy has a question. Hi, Randy, can you hear us?
Hi, Brandon. I can hear you.
Awesome. What can I help you with today?
I was wondering about the integration between Podio and other apps.
Mhm.
I was wondering, you had mentioned there's the web form where you can put it on like your website and you can capture information. Is there a way to then send out emails out through Podio or like export that to a service like MailChimp or Aweber?
Definitely. So we integrate with hundreds of different apps. MailChimp is one that a lot of users like to integrate with Podio. Uh, so let me answer that question in two parts. Yes, there is a way to send emails out from Podio. It's using the email field, which I can show you right now by modifying the template. I can just drag this here to our app, click done, and if I open the item, you'll see the email field. Now, this will only allow you to email one at a time. If you're looking for more of a mass email or a newsletter email, I do recommend integrating with a service such as MailChimp. Now, the way you integrate that is based on your own personal preference. There are a couple different options. One of them is Zapier, which offers a lot of great integrations for Podio. But they are mostly third-party tools that need to be used in this case. And so we can go here, and at Zapier.com, you'll see a full list of integrations, and MailChimp is actually the first one there.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
And so you were saying that with Podio, you can only email them one at a time, right?
Yes, exactly. So clicking this send email button will actually launch your default email application. In this case, it's Outlook for me. I'm on a different computer, otherwise it would launch in Gmail. But yes, you can email one at a time within Podio using the email field. We also have the phone field, which will allow you to dial out with your native phone dialing software, whether it's Skype or any other service.
Okay, so it also integrates in like the phone services too.
Definitely.
Okay.
And I know a lot of users use something like Callfire or something similar, and those services can also be integrated with Podio as well.
Okay. Is there any particular app you would recommend for something like a CRM where you're taking information from off your website using the web forms and then like contacting them and following up?
Definitely, you can actually use Podio as your CRM.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I meant. But is there any particular apps in Podio that you would recommend?
Yes, definitely. So if you go to our Help Center and check out the Getting Started guide, we have a quick start guide to CRM and sales on Podio. And there is a app pack available in our market, which you can download. And this has a lot of great tools, your deals, companies, materials, and this is a good place to start. And it'll allow you to build upon your preferred CRM that way. The Getting Started guide can be found at any time online at help.podio.com. And we also have a video demonstrating how you can use that.
Okay. And then you had mentioned when answering one of the other gentleman's questions about the workflow, there's something that it's limited in some way for the free version compared to the
Yes.
paid version.
Yes.
Can
So
you explain that?
into that, let me open up our workflow here. So in the free version, you'll be limited. You will not have this and if category, and you will also not have the ability to create, update, or create items in other apps. You'll be able to create a task and add a comment, but those are the only two functions that are available on the free version. And the workflow too is a lot more powerful on the paid versions. You can create conditions, so you can trigger a workflow not only when an item is created, but when an item is created and a certain category is selected or a certain field is entered. And that'll allow you to specialize your workflows and differentiate them in different directions.
Okay.
That's the main difference.
And then I saw there's something where you can have like an interaction somehow with like clients, and they can enter in information. That's basically just using the web forms, correct?
Yes, if you would prefer that the client not interact through the Podio portal itself, the web form is a great tool to have, whether you're trying to get contact information from a client, generate a lead, or have someone submit information into the system directly. The web form tool is great for that. So let me go back to that. And every app has a web form tool, and that's accessed by clicking the wrench icon and then going to the web form. You can add a title and description. You can make sure that you can even choose to remove certain fields or from the app in the web form, so you can only access that field from Podio itself. And we provide the embedding code if you would like to have it on a page, and we also provide the link itself.
Okay. And so you go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing when embedding a web form, a lot of our users run into is that your domain needs to be entered twice, once with the www prefix and once without. But besides that, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And you had also mentioned there's a Podio client that they can use or something?
Podio client.
What you were saying?
Like a read-only, that yes. So on the paid versions, if you want to give them access to a certain item in your workspace, you can go to that item. Let's see this page. And in the top right-hand corner, if you click the share button, you can enter that person's email address, or if they're already a member within Podio but in a different workspace, you can select them from the list. And this checkbox will allow you to determine if you only want them to have read-only access or if you want them to be able to edit the item as well. If I check this, they'll be able to view everything, but they won't be able to actually affect any of the data.
Okay. And that you said that's only on the paid versions then?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's all my questions, Brandon.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, let's move forward. Looks like Kent has a question. Hi, Kent, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Kent.
All right. Hello. So I have a question about the project management side.
Uh-huh.
I've been playing with Podio a little bit for about the past month or so, and I've been creating new projects and playing with the templates a little bit. But what I can't figure out is if I can save those templates and if I could create new templates for maybe it's like reoccurring projects instead of having to start fresh.
So the template saves automatically. I think there's a little confusion on how the template works. So the app itself is going to be the template for all of your projects. If you're creating a separate app for each project, that won't necessarily, that'll become cumbersome as soon as you get into the double digits, honestly. So what we recommend is having one projects app for all of your projects. And that way you can centralize all the information while still having that template saved. If you're trying to have the same app in different workspaces, what I would recommend is publishing the app privately, which means clicking the wrench icon and clicking the Share App button, and you will have this share privately to these org. What this will allow you to do is move that template from workspace to workspace and still allow you to save any relevant information.
I'm not sure that I'm following exactly. So
tell me, yeah, elaborate a little bit more. What is your process, and how do you change your template on each new project?
Sure. So I'm at an agency, so we're an agency. So you know, let's say we have a new project that I'd be setting up. That's a new website that we're building.
Mm-hmm.
But we also might handle something like email marketing, where we have a project for email marketing. So those would be two different projects, and the templates for those projects would probably look different.
Okay.
So how would we handle that?
In that case, what I would recommend is creating an app based on the case. So you would have one app for website projects, another app for email projects, another app for a third use case, and that way the use cases are centralized based on the template, and you'll still be able to access that information online.
Okay, so maybe I'm just using the wrong terminology. Instead of projects, I should be creating an app for each of those?
If the information is going to differ greatly between those three different cases, then yes. If you can consolidate the information in such a way that you only need to use one app, that would be fine as well. But it sounds like in your case, you would probably want to have one workspace for website planning, another workspace with a different app for email planning, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so probably setting up a new workspace for each service that my department offers.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I think that'll be it. Thank you.
Okay. I think we have time for one more. Oh, this gentleman's been raising their hand for about 20 minutes. I'm not going to pronounce this right, but Olaway?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, what can I do for you?
Okay. We've been using Podio here for about 3 months, and our briefs, we just found that we need to manually input the job numbers for the briefs. I'm asking if Podio can generate those job numbers automatically.
Definitely. What I would recommend is something called the Unique ID tool, and that's found in the app settings. So if you click the wrench icon and go to app settings, and then advanced, this last option here says show unique ID. If we check that box, we can number every item that's created within the app, and that can be used as your work number. So let's just say work. We want a minimum length 3, so it'll be something like work 002 or work 001. So if we save these changes and then go back to the item, you'll see that the meeting ID is now displayed. Since this is the first item I created in the app, it's work 001. If you want this displayed directly in the field in the app itself, what you can do is modify the template, add a calculation field, and use the unique ID And when I save that, now you'll see that I also have a calculation that displays the ID for that iPod.
Okay. Can I generate that for different workspaces?
Yes, but they'll be different for each workspace because the calculation is or the counting is done based on the items within the app. Each app will have its own unique number, and they won't necessarily correspond with other apps.
Okay. So each workspaces will have their own unique ID.
Yes, they will have their own unique IDs.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay, I think we can get to one more question. Looks like Michael has a question. Hi, Michael.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How can I help you?
Okay, I use Podio, I think, almost 2 years, and I feel really good. And I also recommend it for my friend, also sister company.
That's
And
great to hear.
I also try to help them to set up the Podio system. And I want to ask, I feel the Podio is very good for the small team, small business, and yeah, for the bigger company, they use the ERP, the system, very complicated, I think. Anyway, yeah, I want to ask, do you have any books or any material can share with us introduce how to set up the Podio system or like the system to manage our workflow? Do you understand my question too? The books or some.
Definitely, yeah. So the best way to find resources about Podio is at our help center, and that can be found at help.podio.com. You can search for articles. We also have an amazing community of developers and Podio users that like to bounce ideas off each other. So we really encourage individuals to come to this forum. Usually the general discussion one is the most popular. But if you're working with the API, the developer forum is a great resource as well. But for all newcomers, I would suggest using the Getting Started guide, and this provides a really good overview of Podio in general. Then once you start diving into the product a little bit more, you can search for specific items. Let's say you want to learn more about workflows. I'm just going to type workflow in here. And you'll be presented with a list of different articles on the left addressing the topic and community discussions on the right about the same thing. So we have, for example, our advanced workflows tool, which we have a video on, as well as an article discussing how it can be used. So there's no booklet or physical materials, but we do have this online resource, which we highly recommend reviewing. And once again, if you run into something that you can't find or there's a question not being answered, please feel free to reach out to us directly by clicking the contact support button, or you can even email us at support@podio.com, and we'll be able to get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And so, let me see. One more question. So I know many users ask about the second step verification for login. So I want to ask again. Do you have a plan when will be have the function?
Yeah, two-step verification is something that has been discussed. There is no timeline now, but it is something that we would like to provide in the future. I know, me personally, I would like to see some sort of text message integration with our two-step verification, but at this point, unfortunately, there's no timeline. But keep requesting it. The more users we have, the better we can present our case to the development team and show that, you know, we really need to provide this feature. It is something that we would like to do, but right now there just isn't a timeline for it.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Let me see. Yeah, also go back to the first question. I want to ask is there any book about the philosophy about the system, how to set up?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Yeah, I want to get more material and then learn, try to set up more effective. Do you have any recommend books or something else?
We don't have any published material, if that's what you're asking. What I would recommend is that's really our account managers. One of their main roles is to consult how you've built your organization and how that can be reflected in Podio. Once again, the Getting Started guide online is one of the best resources we have. But if you choose to upgrade your plan, and a dedicated account manager will actually walk through the philosophy of Podio with you. But there isn't anything, we don't have anything published in print, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, wow, that hour really flew by, huh? So I'm just going to wrap up. Once again, if I apologize if there are still some questions that haven't been answered. Please reach out to us at support directly, either at support@podio.com or at this page, and we'll make sure to get back to you. I'd like to thank everyone for their time. Thank you for your awesome questions, and thank you for using Podio. And this recording will be available online. We'll try and have this posted within the next 24 hours.